During the hearing of the plaintiff's originating summons, counsel to the second defendant, Jonah Ishaya, drew the attention of the court to his preliminary objection challenging the court's jurisdiction to entertain the case and prayed for an order striking out the matter for lack of cause of action.
It is for the court to make a pronouncement on them. Issues that are sub judice, there is need for us to be careful.
In opposition, counsel to the plaintiff asked the court to dismiss the second defendant counsel's preliminary objection, submitting that the cause of action arose from the date the name of the second defendant was submitted to the third defendant, INEC, not the date of publication of the list of candidates by the INEC.
If you are calling for that, okay, court, come and interpret section 80, is it 84 or 5, C2 of Electoral Act. If you go through, you will see where the section is talking of that at the end of the election, the candidate who has been declared as the winner will have his name submitted to the commission. And what we are now saying is that at the point of submission, they substituted our name with another person's name.
Counsel to the plaintiff, Afiniki Eunice Dauda, however, adopted his processes, urging the court to grant the prayers as contained in the originating summons. The counsel submitted that May 26, 2022 primary election conducted in Gawu, which produced his client Afiniki Eunice Dauda, was in line with the Constitution and APC guidelines, while the primary election conducted in Mina, which produced Jonah Ishaya, offends the provision of Section 82, subsection 1 and 5 of the Electoral Act.
Now there is a radical departure in between the primary we are relying on and the primary they are relying on. And if you look at the INEC report they exhibited, the INEC report they exhibited is to the effect that the primary election was conducted in Mina. In fact, INEC did not even monitor that election. It was after the conduct of the election that a result was taken to INEC and it was received by a security man based on the report they exhibited.
Counsel to the first respondents, APC, also adopted his processes and asked the court to dismiss the plaintiff's originating summons while identifying some defects in the plaintiff's result of his primary election and the better and further affidavit to the defendant's counter affidavit.
The result they brought has nothing to show that it emanated from APC. And it has no date on it, but the result we brought from APC shows that it emanated from APC, and we have demonstrated before the court that there was no any substitution in the first place. For you to talk about substitution, your name must have been submitted to the party. In this case, there's nothing to show that our name was submitted to the party.
Similarly, counsel to the second defendant, Jonah Ishaya, in opposition to the plaintiff's originating summons, adopted his processes in defense, urging the court to uphold his submission and dismiss the case of the plaintiff. He submitted that there cannot be a proper determination as to who wins the primary election for Gurara state constituency due to a defect in the plaintiff's case.
He is raising the question of substitution, alleged substitution, or leaving an issue which ought to be the very foundation of his case, which is the determination of who actually won the primary election. Unless and until that is established and determined by the court, we cannot jump or ancillary issues being argued and raised and argued by the plaintiff.
Justice Aminu Garba, however, ruled that the processes of the INEC's counsel, who is unavoidably absent, deemed adopted, and adjourned the case to a later date to be communicated to the parties in the pre-election matter for judgment. In Mina, Mukhtar Abubakaru, NTA News.